Ho ho ho, it's getting close to Christmas time. Welcome to the Hot Mess Express, guys. It's Hot Mess Sunday. I've brought you some woodland decor today. I had a few subbies ask for some woodland decor, so here we go, DIY number 1. So you can see, a moose parading through, and actually that's a Gracie parading through. Oh, anyway, back to the project. Okay, so we've got this little wooden craft paper that came from Hobby Lobby, but I got it from my friend Shelly. Thank you, Shelly. And then our old Dollartree Jenga blocks. You need 3 of those. We're going to make some little ornaments here with these cute little critters. So I start with this cute whimsical forest theme, and then all of a sudden, you know, the train derails later on. But I did stick with woodland, I promise. So we're going to take 3 Jenga blocks. I decided to use some of those dark brown ones. And I use a little bit of my wood glue and then a couple little dots of hot glue. But then after I do this one, there's a moosey, I decide to go ahead and just strictly use wood glue. And I did be patient and wait for it to dry, which doesn't take very long for that wood glue to dry. Now, I'm using my little square there to make sure that they all stay lined up. Moose is going to help me out and kind of rubbing, make sure nothing oozes too bad. And if something does ooze, I try to wipe it off. So it does take 3 of those, and they fit perfectly on those little squares of paper, which I did cut out, see? And then we still have enough room to sand it off and make it all flush and go together. And you can see I did a variety of 2 white ones and a brown one, or 2 brown ones and a white one. So we're going to use some just Elmer's glue stick here. And yes, it is the scented glue stick because I take those home from my kids because I don't need them sniffing and eating the glue sticks. Parents, please just buy regular glue sticks. Okay, anyway, so we're going to just use my glue stick to glue these on, and it's going to work just perfectly. I'm going to use my little scraper here that I use for vinyl, but I use another one for vinyl, not that one for vinyl. And after I have glued those on and smoothed those out and they're all ready to go, we're going to take my sander and I'm going to zip, zip, zippity doo. And I'm using a little rough grit right now, like 120 something, whatever. And then I use a second one, which is going to smooth everything out. And this one's only probably like 400 or something. I'm also going to go ahead and I get my tough the harder grit sandpaper, the other one. This one I just used the fine grit, but then I got the big heavy duty stuff out to sand the back of it. And I'm just showing you here, it kind of distresses it a little bit more. And ta-da! There we go. Those are my 2 favorites, the little hedgy mahog and the little mouse on the mushrooms. Yep. But look at that. Look, got lots of that brown off. So if you don't like your dark brown Jenga blocks, just sand them down. Now, yep, you knew it was coming. Either antique wax or the distressing neat walnut color. And I'm going to go around these puppies and just distressing them. And I make sure that I specifically and for sure and greatly get the corners. I also get the sides. I get the back, which you can see the wood grain kind of come back out. And then I kind of just tappity tap 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 on the top there just to get a little bit. And when I do the mouse one here, I kind of do a little bit more because, you know, I'm always unsure of how much I want. So I go a little bit more on this one and get a little bit crazier with it and rub, rub, rub and all over and more tappity tap, tap, tap. And I like that better. So I go back to this one and I tappity tap, tap some more. Take a wet wipe and just kind of dab it. I'm not wiping, I'm just dabbing. And why is that so out of focus? That's terrible. I'm sorry, guys. I'm also off center a lot and get out of frame a lot in this whole thing. And I do apologize, but you know what? It's okay. So after I have distressed those, I'm going to take my matte Mod Podge because I don't like bright shiny things, not on the woodland stuff, no. So I'm going to take my fan brush and I'm just going to make sure for sure I get the corners and the edges, smooth it out on top, and then I hit my sides a little bit just to make sure I have those edges. And there we go. I do the back sides as well after the front sides dry. And there we go. See? They're a little shiny, but not too shiny. Now, I got some strips of jute twine here. They were probably about, these little ones right here were probably about like 3 inches long. You could just hot glue that to the back, but I didn't like the way that fit. So I have these little eye hooks here. You can get those on Amazon, Temu, wherever you want. And you just take them and you kind of screw it back and forth to kind of wiggle a little hole. And then once you get the hole started, you can just twistity twist, and they just twist down real easy. You can see I'm using my hands here. After a while, using those small of eyelet little hooks, it gets kind of tough. So you see my little your little pliers over there with the little fine hole. Yeah, you can take that and spin it around. I'll show you that in a minute. I think, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to make a lark's head knot. I'm going to pull the loop through, and then I'm going to tighten that down, and I want it to go forward. So here we go, and then we'll just tie a knot in the other end and tighten that tight and make sure it's tight at the bottom where that loop through, and boom, there you go. If you want to, after you get the hole in, you can put a little bit of super glue or something in the hole and then put the eyelet back in. I didn't worry about that because I'm not too worried about it. And here you go, moose lovers. I just left this one in again so you could see the moosey man. And there we go, guys. They're all done. No, they're not. Just kidding. Okay, so I trimmed the ends off, and you know there's going to be fire when there's jute twine, right? Yep, buddy. All right, so that's just going to get the fuzzies off, and it's also going to seal our ends so it doesn't fry anymore. And you know me, like to play with fire. Kind of rub it off, get that little burnt off. Okay, so now we're done with that. Check, cha-ching. Are we done? Nope, we sure aren't. But I'm just kind of showing you how it looks, and there we go. You could leave them just like that if you wanted. I think they're great just the way they are, but of course, can we stop? Heck no, Cheerio. So I had all this goods in my stash from my friend Shelly. Thank you, Shelly. But these obviously came from the Hobby Lobby. And they got some dark berries and some lighter berries. This stick I had came from Walmart last year. Don't know where the tag went. Can't tell you. But it did come from Walmart, I'm pretty sure. I really like the way it looks. So you can see we're going to take our ornament. I've already made me just a little finger 2-loop jute twine bow. 2 little sprigs of that stalk I have there, and 3 berries, 2 brighter ones, 1 darker one, and then some of them have 2 darker ones and 1 brighter one, just to mix it up a little bit. So we're just going to pour on the hot glue here because I don't know when enough is enough. And we're just going to set our 2 little sprigs on first. If you don't like all this stuff, guys, don't do this part. If you want to put pine on it instead of this, you know, this kind of fern looking stuff, because like I said, I lost the sticker because I started using it last year, so I can't tell. Or if you just want to put I thought about just putting the jute twine bow on top, but I didn't. I thought, no, it still needed more. So then that's when I got the greenery and the berries out, and yeah. Anyway, and here goes the moose. And sorry about the moose quake. Like every time you see the camera shake, it's because Moose is bonking his big head or his big butt into it. So I'm trying to show you guys what it looks like. Anyway. And then, now, look at this. Look at the berries. Look, do you see that? Isn't that the cook? God, I'm so sorry that this, I think it gets blurry because somebody keeps hitting the thing and I'm too close to it or something, and I need a new phone. I'm still on a 13. I need a new one because my daughters even make fun of me. But anyway, did you see the berries? Look, like it, comment, and subscribe for the Moosey Man if you like the Moosey Man. And hit that hype it up. Ooh, hype it up, my subbies. Anyway, I was trying to show you the difference in the berries. The way I did that was I accidentally hit them with my heat gun. And I thought it was pretty cool. Watch, I'm about to show you what I did. Now, of course, don't hold them with your fingers. You might burn your fingers. But this is what happens. Look at that. It just all of a sudden, it like poof, and it like explodes. I think that looks more like a realistic berry than before you hit it with the heat gun. So I did 4 of them where I went poof, presto with the heat gun, and then I left others of them alone. But anyway, see, you can tell the difference. Look at that. I just really like the way it poofed. I thought it was so cool. Oh, you'll see it at the end. Okay. DIY number 2, we're still in the woods. I'm going to take this little Dollartree bird thing. Yeah, Birdhouse, that's what we're calling it. I'm taking my lacquer by Waverly and some Barn Red because I wanted to just use Barn Red, but it was really watery. You know, words don't come easy here. And I mixed those 2 together a little bit to give it a little bit darker of a color, but the chalk paint to help it stick because the other was so watery. I've got an old pine cone here from the woods. Just taking a pair of pliers and I'm pulling all the pieces off. And there we go. Looked like a squirrel got on that. Maybe it was a moose. You never know. Okay, what we're going to do, you've probably seen this on Pinterest or something, or other crafters do it, and I just thought it was really cool. So we're going to take those pine, I don't know, the pieces of the pine cone, and we're going to glue them on. I'm just going to use my Tite Bond. I didn't really want to use hot glue because, I mean, I don't know. I'd burn myself 100 times. So, and I'm going to make sure this first row here, you're going to start at the bottom of the roof and work your way up. You also notice with the house, I used that red to color all of it except for the bottom. Anyway, You know, sorry, forgot to mention that part. Not like you can't see it. Anyway, I should be one of those ones that just shuts up and just play the music and let y'all just watch. Because, I mean, I pretty much leave way too much in anyway. And I don't talk about what I'm doing at the time, so I can't help y'all out anyway. And you know I don't know what I'm doing. I can't even talk. So y'all might just, like, I might turn on some tunes. And anyway, so we're putting our little pine cone things on here. And you noticed I rubbed my Type Bond around. We're putting our little second coat on here. And yeah, might have had too much Type Bond, but you know what? You can never have too much glue. Okay, and then I fit another row on top, and I just kind of pieced it together, kind of like a puzzle. Which one fits the best? If it overhung on the front and the back a little bit, I didn't care. And so there we go. So, and you just keep doing that. I think it ended up with 5 rows on each side. Dee-dee! Let's see. I'm moving it too much. I can't tell. Yeah, I think it was 5, maybe 6. 5 rows. And then I put one on top. Some going one way, some going the other way. Okay, so here's our little Dollar Tree crate. This is the one without the holes in the end, but the slits in the front and back. I just got this paper at the Hobby Lobby, and I thought, hey, this is pretty woodland and rustic, because I was raiding their Christmas paper because it was on sale this week. So, yep, like I don't have enough paper, but, you know. Here's my measuring. Yep, I'm just going to take it, and I'm going to make this wrap all the way around the box. And I like how the lines went by going this way. If you were looking at the front, it looks like I'm cutting from up and down, but the lines on it are going side to side. Anyway, you know, cut it. Find the piece you want on your paper, because you could tell there was lots of different patterns on there. And just pick the piece you want to show. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this around. I'm kind of creasing it right here. That's going to kind of help me out. Instead of just cutting 4 separate pieces, this whole thing covers 3 of the 4 sides. So I Mod Podge the paper, and I put a little Mod Podge on the crate. And I'm just smoothing this out, smooth like butter. And then making sure, you know, it's all, I got it where I can still sand some of the edges off. I didn't lose a piece anywhere, and the wood is hanging out, and, you know, all that. You can see it even overhangs just a little bit. So I'm going to get that on there real good, get the extra glue off everywhere, smash it down, press it down, smooth it out. Yep, still smoothing. Yep. Okay. And once it gets pretty good and stuck, it's not moving. And of course, I'll take my little, you know, spatula doodah thing here that I use specifically for Moddy Podgy things. I'll cut some of this end off, but not all of it. And then we'll measure out one more piece, and I'm going to make sure that it's going the same direction. See how the lines are going sideways on there? But when you flip the paper over, they were actually going up and down. Anyway, don't listen to me. So I'm just needing to cut out one more side. So I just get the little rectangle there. And I always cut on the outside of the line. That way I've got a little extra room to work with. Little extra wiggle room there. And I'm going to do the same thing. Put some, and what I have in my big condiment bottle here is glossy Mod Podge. So that's why sometimes you see me use this Mod Podge. And then other times, like when I did the ornaments, and later on you'll see me use the matte Mod Podge. I use this glossy because my friend Shelly, thank you Shelly, gave me a gallon of glossy Mod Podge. So I use the glossy to use it as the glue, the sticker. And then I use the matte Mod Podge in my little bottles, but I just bought me a big one at Walmart the other day, to do the outside coat because I don't like things that shiny. But anyway, so I got this piece on right here. I'm talking so much. Whew, out of breath. Okay, you think as much as I talk to kids and teach, I wouldn't be out of breath. But anyway, I just get excited when I'm here with you guys. Anyway, so I just put that piece on, and I made sure that the other pieces were wrapped around, and this one sat on top. I've let that sit overnight. We're going to sand all this down, top, bottom, edges, and then do the matte Mod Podge. That is a piece of a spindle that came off a chair Randy gave me. Thank you, Randy. And I cut it, and it was painted white, and I sanded a little bit of it down, but not all of it. Now, so this was the next day, and the box was finished, and I sanded it off, and I gave it the coat of matte Mod Podge. And on the back side, I cut the slits out to see if I liked it, and I did. So now I'm showing you what I did. I just got my little, you know, razor X-Acto knife thingy there. You can buy them at the Dollar Tree like in a 3-pack. And I'm just cutting those slits out, and then I take my sander, and I can kind of turn it sideways because you know how some of that sandpaper kind of hangs off the edges of the zip sander a little bit. And I get in there and get all that out, and then wipe it down and make sure it's all smooth and nice, and there we go. Boop, boop. that's it. And so I did that, and then I gave them all another coat of matte Mod Podge since I cut them, and now we've got the bare wood and the paper sticking again. So bam, she's all done, dry, good, ready to go. There's our spindle sanded down, the ends are sanded down, and here comes the antique Waverly wax. Yep, you knew it was coming. I got my stenciling brush there, distressing brush, whatever you want to call it. I'm trying to be careful to not get it on the top or bottom of the spindle because the glue's going to go there. So I'm just going all the way around with that, and look at here, me being careful holding it with a paper towel. Like, really? Since when do I care if my hands get nasty? Just wait till later. I bought me some Snow-Tex the other day. Yeah, buddy, we're going to use it here in a bit. Anyway, so I just distressed that a little bit. I'm going to distress my house a little bit, and I also kind of get inside the bird hole right there so that the back you don't see. It's not real bright white anymore. It's like distressed and it's dark in there. It's a dark and gloomy birdhouse. Anyway, so then I take a wet wipe and then I kind of just mush it all around and pat, pat, patty, pat. I really like doing with the wet wipe, patting instead of just rubbing. It's like when you wipe it, it takes off too much. So I like to pat. Anyway, we're going to take our wood glue here, put a dot, and then use some hot glue for the immediate hold. And I'm going to press that down, and we're going to keep our fingers crossed that that works, because wait for it coming later. I'm just saying. And we're going to do the same thing with our little birdie house on the top. Just a dot of wood glue in the middle. Take my little glue pin so I can make a fine line around the outside, and we're going to stick that. And of course, I'm not going to make it straight. It's got to be turned sideways and wonky. And I'm like, whew, let's hold, baby. Okay. So, of course, I don't let it sit and dry, right? I got to show y'all what's happening. And then I'm going to go ahead and start doing everything else. And, you know, this is the problem. Just wait for it. Okay. So taking my antique wax and a wet wipe, but then I decided, nope, I want it darker than that. So I go and I'm going to grab my brush over there here in just a second. And I'm just going to go ham because it's like, okay, got to get this done. And I also go where the slits are that we cut out. See there? See there? Yep, the top, the bottom. And I also get the top of the inside. Not the entire inside, but just like the top edge of the inside. So in case it shows, which it wouldn't matter because it ends up not showing. But you never know. No, the bottom and stuff isn't going to show. And then I also did the bottom of the birdhouse there. Not worried about the top yet, because I will show you what we're going to do. We're going to take some of this brown moss, and there's my Snow-Tex. Found it at the Hobby Lobby. Woo! I spent way too much money at Hobby Lobby the other day. Woo-bee! And I have this little birdie my friend Shelly gave me. Thank you for the little cardinal. Perfect for Christmas. Okay, we're going to take a little bit of moss. A little bit, yeah. And I'm going to kind of just stretch it out, and I'm going to shove it down in the box there and make sure some goes around the little spindle that's holding our little birdie housey up, okay? And then I'm going to take just a little piece, and I'm going to roll it in a ball here, boop-a-doop-a-doop, and just stretch it out just a little bit. That was a beezy walking around back there. And I'm going to put some hot glue, and I'm trying to show y'all, and this is half my problem right here, okay? And just put some glue on the bottom of the little hole, and then put the moss on there, so it looks like his, you know, his house is kind of falling out of his house, and yeah, anyway. And I kind of just trim everything up a little bit around the sides and edges. I mostly just kind of stuffed everything back in. I didn't trim too much of it off, and I just, you know, yeah, kind of stuffed. Okay, so anyway, here we go. So there's that same, you know, fern looking piece. And then I got these rings. I saw Brenda with Rustic and Lace DIY do this. This is such a great idea, Brenda. I love it. You buy those little round things, and everything is half off at Hobby Lobby right now. And it's a lot cheaper to buy that or like a long piece of garland than it is to buy stalks of that stuff. So anyway, I'm just tucking the pine, and then there, and then here it comes. Yeah, this is why you wait and have a little patience, because, yeah, it wasn't dry, and I kept wiggling it around, and, yeah, the hot glue mixed in with the other. So now we're just going to bust out the Type Bond. Like, I ain't going to waste no time anymore. And I'm just going to stick that thing on, and then, of course, instead of letting it dry, I waited like 5 seconds. We're going to keep working, okay? And I put some berries in there, too, the same berries we were using earlier. There's a Beelzebub. He sees the berries, and he wants to play with my spatula. Okay. So it's still drying, guys. I had to, you know, here I am smearing Snow-Tex all over the top of the roof here, and it's not dry yet. But, you know, hey, it's dry now. It ain't moving now, let me tell you. So, and then I decide, okay, the spatula's okay, but let me just take my finger. And I'm just getting a scoop of it on my finger and then just running it down the sides. So some of the roof has a little bit more than other pieces of it, but it's snow. It's supposed to, right? Now I'm going to go on the bottom. You can tell right here it still wasn't fully dry yet, and I'm trying to hang on to this and do this because you know what? I have no patience. And anyway, so I'm running all the snow text around the bottom, and then I just... I know this is not how you do this, but I'm like taking my fingers and I'm just rubbing my greenery. See, you see how it moved again just there. And I rub my greenery and put it on the berries. And let me tell you guys, your fingers is the best thing to use for snow text. You know what? I'm a messy crafter, and it's Hot Mess Express. I'm just saying. We're going to glue our little hot birdie on his little perch that was sticking out right there. And I'm like all slow. And I had pulled a feather off the top of his head and had just glued it back on. And I'm like, was petting the bird. But I should have left that in. That would have gave you all a good laugh. And I'm like, nope, stop. Just walk away from it. Here, I'm just trying to get some of the glue strings off from when I put the bird on. And anything else that might be here. Look, see how, now I'm going to be careful with it now that I'm done. And of course, I just had to show y'all. I mean, look, isn't that adorable? I've seen some ideas for that, like on Pinterest and stuff. And I was so happy. Anyway, you'll see more of that in the final reveal. Here's DIY number 3. I found this beautiful bag at the Dollar General. Did I check the price? No, this bag was $3, but I think I'll get my money's worth out of it because you do get 2 pictures. Now this I got for like $1 at the Goodwill months ago before they even went up on prices. I paid $1 for this. This is a good hunk of wood. This is wood cedar frame right here. Now, you know me, I like to use the back inside, kind of like a shadow box kind of thing. I'm showing you the bag right here. One side has glitter on it, the other side does not. So I'm going to go ahead and use the glittery side, okay, to get it out of the way. And then I could still save the back side and we could do something else with it. Also, you noticed it was a little too big. So the way I cut it is the moon and Santa and his sleigh at the top there are another little piece, and then keep the sides too, because you could use that for some border and some edging. But what I do is since I got to cut a lot of the top off, what you're going to see me do here is kind of like line it up how I want it at the bottom. And I know I'm out of screen here. I'm sorry, guys. But I'm kind of just creasing it so that I know where to cut it. You don't want to push it down too far, though, or it'll end up kind of wonky. Okay, so by the time I get the top cut off, now I'm just going to follow my lines where I made my creases. And again, I kind of cut on the outside of the crease to make sure I don't go too far in. But I ended up, when I edited this, I must have took this back out and trimmed it up 500 times. Because why measure? I don't measure things. We just fly by the seat of our pants here. Anyway, so here's the top part with this moon and the sleigh. I could make another picture with that. So heck yeah, we're going to keep that. So you see how it's not fitting? Yeah, well, it took me about 500 more tries to get that to fit. But you didn't want to see all that. Guys, use a measuring tape. It'll go faster, I promise. Now I'm going to use my purple glue stick. I didn't want to, since the smelly glue stick was a smaller one, I knew it'd take me even longer. And here I'm always fussing at my kids. You don't need chunks of glue stick to make that stick. And then look what I do. So hopefully none of them are watching. Anyway, so here I am going to take my little spatula scraper brayer thing again. And I'm just kind of getting all the air bubbles out and smoothing it out like butter, all that. And woo, I'm so happy with this. Now I got to cover up that edge because you can see the nails where they nailed the frame thing together. There's also a hole in the top of that. So I've got this ribbon from the Wally World last year on clearance after Christmas when everything went on sale. See, there's the hole. I guess they had a screw or something there. You saw the jute twine that they used to hang it with, but I don't know why the hole's in the middle. Anyway, we're going to get this all covered up with this pretty Let It Snow ribbon from the Wally World from last year. And it works out great, like 2 Let It Snows and 3 of the pine and pine cone parts. So I keep cutting off the Let It Snow part so that it all matches up because that's how weird I am. And do I throw those little Let It Snow pieces away? Heck no, I'm keeping those. I could put those on something else. I'm going to use my Aleene's tacky glue here because I didn't want to use hot glue because if you use hot glue on the back of your ribbon, you can see where all the bumps and lumps are where you put the hot glue. So I'm going to use, and I didn't want to use my Tight Bond because that's for, heavy stuff, and my wood glue's for the wood. So, Aleene's to the rescue. Guys, you need a glue arsenal if you're a crafter. That's all I got to say. Now, there's a little bit of edge hanging over, but we're going to trim those up here in a little bit so you can see where the edges are kind of hanging off when I do get it in the frame. And I'm going to cut those off here in a little bit. But I'm going to take my matte Mod Podge, and I covered over that, and you can see I got bubbles. do not panic. Parchment paper and your little heat press. If you don't have a heat press, you can use a regular iron. Just don't have the steam on. The parchment paper is just to protect whatever it is that you're, pressing down. Plus, since I had put the coat of Mod Podge on it, had I just done that with the iron, yeah, there'd be glue all over my iron. But anyway, look at there. Got all the bubbles and creases out. Yay. Got 2 trees here. And I got these antlers just about a week ago from the Wally World. And here's some of that great plastic snow. Yeah, I'm not going to say what it is. So I took one of these trees. It's a smaller one. And I kind of flattened the back of it. Here, I'm trying to knock all the dust and stuff out. Anyway. And I'm going to kind of add that to our picture here to make it a little 3D-ish. So just a little hot glue. And I'm going to put this one more toward the back of the frame. That's what we're going to call it. We're going to call it a frame. So you can see I've got that smashed toward the back. Now our big one, that's a little bit taller, hot glue, but we're going to put this more toward the front of the frame. So you can see one's kind of set more closer to the front, the other one to the back. I was trying to give a dimension, but this isn't my strong suit. Because here you got this little deer, and now these trees look bigger than the deer, and, anywho. I'm going to bust out this snow, and I didn't know the best way to do it, so I just bust out the hot glue. I do get my little, we all have the little makeup plastic spatulas from Dollar Tree. So I got one of those, not plastic, the silicone spatulas from Dollar Tree that you find in the makeup section. Yep, I did get that out. And we're going to put this all around the bottom, and I did this like 2 or 3 times, made it kind of come over the edge. See, there's my little silicone spatula. And to make sure I didn't burn myself too awfully bad. Now the deer looks like he's standing in the snow. Yep, okay, there we go. All right, I'm pretty happy with the way that looks, okay? So now we're going to take our snow text and just a little paintbrush here. And I'm going to take it and try to get some clumps on it. And I'm going to kind of just take my trees. Guys, you know what I think this snow text stuff is? I'm also going to do the tops of my mountains. I think this snow text is white paint, glue, and sand. What do y'all think? I think I'm literally, instead of ever buying snow text again, I am going to mix up. This looks horrible right now. I know. Don't worry. Don't panic. I'm going to just buy some sand at the Dollar Tree, some white glue, glue, and then some white chalk paint and mix it up and see if I can get some snow text. Because that's literally what it seemed like. I looked like I was painting because I put it on my trees. You can see I put it on the house. I smeared it in the not real trees, but the actual trees in my hand, not the picture. Anyway, I know the snow at the top above the mountains looks horrible. Don't panic. Right now, I'm hot gluing my antlers on. Yes, I kept the jute twine on, but I'm going to take that off. So you see I'm getting a wipey, and I'm trying to fix this, and it's just making it worse. Don't panic, guys. If you don't like your snow text, get a wet wipe. I started getting I was trying to make snow, make it nice. I got after it with the wet wipe and then a paper towel. And there you go. So that looks so much better, right? We're going to use the same greenery and berries that we used on our ornaments and our birdhouse. And we're going to pile on the hot glue and kind of just put that on top of the horns right there. Did I call them horns and antlers earlier? Or did I call them something else? Anyway, I think I called them antlers. Or did I just I got this thing? Anyway, I glued the pine down first. And remember, got that at Hobby Lobby. And then these, I got at Walmart last year. And it's got little pine cones in it. Isn't it cute? And yeah, so this, and I just glued this on top. So this kind of all makes everything kind of cohesive and match. Other than the fact my ornaments are cute little whimsical animals. And the birdhouse and this little picture here look more elegant, more. Have you ever seen me make anything elegant before? Woo, that's a stretch, isn't it? Anyway, we're going to put 3 of these berries that I got in the pack at the Dollar Tree about a year or 2 ago. And I'm going to glue those on. Boom. So we have got so much hot glue in the corner of this frame. Let me tell you, okay? All right. So I'm like, don't touch it. Don't touch it. Let that hot glue dry. Because, I mean, look at that. Look at that. Okay. Don't panic. Don't panic. Okay. So now that it has set up and it has dried real good, we're going to go back to our snow text, sand, glue, and white paint. I guarantee you. Anyway, and I'm just going to kind of add it to the greenery and the berries, and I add some to the antlers. And we're going to add it where that hot glue is. Now, I realized later I still wasn't too happy. So you'll see in the final reveal that I found another little pine cone in all my collection. And I put it at the top where all that hot glue is piled up. You don't see it here, but you see it in the final review. Reveal, whatever you want to call it. So there it is. And here we go, guys. Look at this. I just had this little thing. And those owls, I got them at Walmart too. I was going to do something with him, but I ran out of time, guys. So anyway, here's just a little swag that I hung my little ornaments on with our blown up berries and our fresh berries, right? And the owl's so cute. Oh, I wanted to do a project with him so bad. Maybe we'll have to do a woodland part 2. Y'all let me know if you want a woodland part 2. Okay, and so there's all our little ornaments. Aren't they so cute? Your kids could help you make those, because like I said, I just ended up using wood glue to put the Jenga block, whatever, tumbling tower blocks together. Just watch them with the hot glue. Just have fun. See the pine cone at the top of that? I think I zoom in on it here in a minute. So here is our lovely snow, which looks like a hot mess. You can see where I've added the snow text on the mountains and the trees. And there is the pine cone I added at the top. That covered up that big old glob of hot glue that was in the back. Is this too much white? Is this too much snow text? Should I have backed off a little bit? Because I never know. Anyway, to our birdhouse. Y'all let me know in comments. Here's our little birdhouse. I'm really happy with the way this turned out. That is snow text. That is on the berries and all the branches, except for some of that pine. It came that way. And there's our little birdie. He's so cute. It's a little cardinal. So pretty. So anyway, went from whimsical to elegant and nice and fancy. And I was going to do something with that deer that I got at Dollar General too. But yeah, that didn't happen. I was going to rusty crusty it up. But like I said, maybe we'll have to have a woodland decor part 2. Y'all let me know down in comments. I hope you guys enjoyed and liked this week's Hot Mess Sunday. I haven't even thought of what I'm doing next week, but I will let you know pretty soon. I hope you guys have a great week ahead. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Keep the comments coming. Keep hyping it up. Like, share it with your friends. Hit the notification bell. I'm going to try to be here every Sunday with something new for Christmas. Have a great week, guys. I love y'all.